There is no meeting planned, and I'm not challenging this. Putin is ready to meet with Zelensky when the agenda would be ready for a summit. And this agenda is not ready at all.
That's Russia's top diplomat, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, dismissing the chances for another Ukraine summit anytime soon. As the Trump administration continues to push for a peace deal, General Jack Keane is a Fox News senior strategic analyst. The vice president was on the Sunday shows talking about his perspective on what Russia has already conceded.
No, not at all, Kristen. I think the Russians have made significant concessions to President Trump for the first time in 3.5 years of this conflict. They've recognized that they're not going to be able to install a puppet regime in Kiev. That was, of course, a major demand at the beginning. And importantly, they've acknowledged that there is going to be some security guarantee to the territorial integrity of Ukraine.
We're a week from last week's summit, and I wonder where you think things stand today, sir.
Yeah, well, that's a good point going back to the summit. Certainly, the president in discussions with Putin, I think the major takeaways he conveyed to us, you had to deal with he was willing to meet with Zelensky, and that was a move in the right direction. And secondly, that they were willing to make some reasonable security guarantees, in other words, to permit them to occur. That brought Zelensky and the European leaders to Washington, D.C. after the president called them following his summit with Putin. And much of that was surrounded the security guarantees. But now we have Lavrov, who's been with Putin for over 20 years, pushing back on the meeting between Zelensky and Putin because the agenda is not right. And what he's really saying is that he went right after he and his people went right after the security guarantee, saying there'll be no Western troops in Ukraine once a permanent agreement is concluded. Well, that's up to Ukraine and the other Europeans and the United States. Russia shouldn't have a veto, over something as major as that is, obviously. And the other thing is they're still insisting on taking the Donbass region, the terrain they have been unable to conquer, for 3.5 years, and going all the way back to actually 2014, they want Ukraine to give them that terrain. So it sounds to me, that we're back in a position where Putin talks nice, provides incentives for us to continue those negotiations and to look like we're moving in the right direction, and then stalls and delays. That's kind of where we are. That's got to be frustrating our president. And likely they're working through what are the alternatives now. And in my mind, it's getting pretty close to doing that. The maximum sanctions and tariffs open up offensive weapons to Ukraine so they can make deep attacks into Russia, and tell them on no uncertain terms that we're going to give Ukraine the guns they need to shut down your offensive, and also what they need to be able to conduct counterattacks and take some territory back. I think the leverage we're talking about here is really part of the peace process. And I think we're probably getting pretty close to it, Dana.
Well, you make up a good point, as always, and this is having to do with what can Ukraine use, what does it have, and how much time does it have in that calculation. And there was a report in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend that the Pentagon was limiting Ukraine's use of these long-range missiles. Ambassador Whitaker, our ambassador to NATO, said this morning.
You can't fight a war with one or two hands tied behind your back. President Trump is a duly elected president of the United States. He gets to decide what the U.S. policies are. And if he thinks that Ukraine should be able to use American weapons that are being bought by our Canadian and European NATO allies to be used for deep strikes, then they'll be used for deep strikes.
Can you clarify what's going on here for us?
Well, there are some restrictions that are being imposed, from what I understand, on ATACMS, which is a long-range offensive missile, and also on the UK's Storm Shadow, which is a cruise missile. Some other systems, there are no restrictions on them, like the HIMARS system, and certainly no restrictions on the Ukrainians using their own drones. But the president tweeted out that made no sense that a country that invades another country cannot attack the country that invaded them. And those restrictions were imposed initially by the Biden administration. I think the administration's got to clear this up. I mean, the president is saying certainly Ukraine has the right to conduct deep attack inside Russia, given what they're doing inside of Ukraine. And it seems to me that something's happening in the Pentagon and imposing a restriction that the administration has got to clear up.
Okay, well, the president will be in the Oval Office at least signing some executive orders. If he takes questions, maybe this will be one of them. General Keane, as always, thank you so much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.